Hello and welcome to another replay for World of Tanks, this time with the JagdTiger 88. Don't know why I'm doing these replays, but I am. Just matches I enjoyed, matches I did well, matches that matched matchings. Once again, this is edited post-replay recording. This is a replay, this is post-commentary on said replay, and all of the editing and speed on the replay has been done via Adobe Premiere, which is what I use to edit for future reference. So, there's a Chef in this match. I believe that's how that's pronounced, if I'm not mistaken. I probably am, but he does probably the best scouting I've seen in a long time. And in fact, pretty soon here, you'll see he spots pretty much half of our team and gets something like 4 tanks down to about 60% health in the first couple of minutes of the match. There he goes right there, in fact. Now I'm looking at him trying to highlight him to see how far away he is. I can't quite tell how far away he is, but I don't think I've been spotted. That M6 certainly has, obviously. Gets the crap shot out of him. He's one of the tanks that gets to 60%. Luckily, I don't think it was any of our really high-tier stuff that got hit, but still, that Chef did a good job. He, in fact, does a really good job the entire match, in my opinion. Our team, on the other hand, not so much. We're technically 2 tanks down because we have a Pershing that does more or less nothing most of the match. You can see him over there in A3-ish. And then we have an AT-8 that does more or less nothing the entire match, and he's over there in A2. And I give the Chef a well-played thing. And then he does the right thing, and he says bye-bye, and we don't see him for a while. If you're in a light tank and you're doing this kind of scouting, the active kind of scouting, you need to go in, come out, and then reappear somewhere else. We have no idea where he is, no idea where he's going to be, and quite frankly, that's how it should be. Now, admittedly, he does show up around the same location several times, but still, he does a good job. See, there he is again, spotting more people. Now, I turn around thinking maybe I can get a shot on this guy and kind of take him out of the picture, because he's pretty much screwing our team over. Because they refuse to not sit on top of the hill. You'll notice pretty much this entire match, and that startled me as well, I decided to move. Pretty much this entire match, you'll notice I'm on the reverse slope of this hill, and that's to give me some cover from things like, say, the Chef spotting me. Now this Pershing is the cause of most of my misses and most of my bounces, because I'm taking extremely silly, quite frankly, but I have nothing better to shoot at, extremely silly shots at basically the very top of the turret on this Pershing. I get, I think, 2 shots into him, and then 1 shot into the IS-3 over there when he shows up. Again, the IS-3 is a pretty bad choice for me to just shoot at his turret, basically, but I've got nothing else to do right now. I could poke over, shoot the stuff in the middle, but that's a massive risk for me, so I kind of move a little bit further down the slope, give me some extra cover, and continue screwing around with this Pershing, because why not? Now you notice we have 2 heavies over there. I don't know what these heavies thought they were doing. Obviously this Pershing is spotting them for whatever's behind him. It turns out there's a lot of stuff behind him, including a T-34 and an IS-3. So 2 big hitters. There's also a KV-4, which we will soon spot, pretty much right next to me on this hill. He is in the, like, the G4-ish area, pretty much their side of the reverse slope, if you will. And he's probably taking pot shots at our heavies down there as well, pretty much what I'm doing to their team. And that's a really good spot, because rarely do you get spotted over there, and it gives you a nice wide angle on tanks, coming down from the A line and such. In fact, I believe we spot him relatively soon here. But there's the shot on IS-3. Sadly, I don't get his track. That's what I was trying to do, was try to hit his track. And there's the KV-4, which I mark requesting fire on him because, quite frankly, half of our team could probably hit him. But I don't think anyone does, or even tries. This VK is doing it wrong. Chef doing it right. VK not doing it right. There's also a Leopard on their team, which you can see. I think that's him in A4. That may be the Chef I'm not sure. But he doesn't really do much. He's not really any sort of threat to our team, so I don't really care. But you'll notice in A7 there's some heavies, and I noticed this as well right about this point. So I kind of start moving backwards and turning around. I'll ping the map in a little bit here once I get going in that direction, because it takes me an age to turn around. I don't, I don't know what our team was doing. Well, they were getting killed by Chefé, that was pretty obvious, but note, there is no artillery. So that Chefé is completely and utterly useless if you were to just not sit on top of the hill. If you were to just, you know, you see the thing, you roll backwards, I don't know, 20 meters and get down on the hill, and nothing can hit you. And if they can hit you, it's probably a horrid angle on, like, your turret or something along those lines. But no, you can see there's a bunch of wreckage up here on the hill. Now, for whatever reason, I don't think I actually get spotted until pretty long into this match. In fact, I don't think either this M6 or this T-32 spot me. But when I do get spotted, I get shot by nearly everything, pretty much continuously until the end of the match. I do bounce a lot of things, but I take a ton of damage. Also, this zooming out after pretty much every shot, that's reflexes from days of old in the game, where if you were zoomed in and you shot, the effect would actually cause it to run at like a half a frame a second for a while. So I would shoot, zoom out, shoot, zoom out, shoot, zoom out. It also gives me better situational awareness when I'm aiming on someone. You'll notice a lot of people, a lot of the people who are not quite as good at the game as I am, not that that's saying all that much, but you know. You'll notice they stay zoomed in when they're firing. So they'll see a target, they'll zoom in, they'll fire, and they'll stay zoomed in. And while they're zoomed in, they pretty much ignore the map, which means they don't have any awareness of stuff that might be next to them. Now, I start to make a bad idea here, a bad decision. A bad idea? And I start rolling up this hill to maybe get a shot at the Chefé, and I figured that's probably not in my best interest, so I just sit there and then just decide to stay on this side of the hill like I've been doing, and move over to try and help this Hellcat over there. Now, this Hellcat did his best. There's not a lot he can do, especially not given what he's been trying to shoot at, which is the same stuff I've been. He's done his best, he tried, I give him that much. The AT-8, however, I don't know what he was even doing in this match, but whatever. There's things he could do. In fact, the enemy AT-8 shows up later in the game. In fact, he's got a couple kills, I think. Can't quite read that right now. 3 kills, I think? 2 kills, something along those lines. I can't read it. This is a silly shot. It says pin, but I'm not quite sure what I pinned. I think I may have broken his optics or something. There's the Leopard. Took a crappy shot, missed. Figures. Here's the Chefé. Take a crappy shot. Guess what? Missed. I would be surprised if I had hit either of them. And I've been spotted as I proceed to begin being shot by nearly everything on their team. Because nearly everything on their team is over here. And you'll just bounce after bounce after bounce on this thing in this match. And I don't know why. Because, quite frankly, it has the JagdTiger's armor, so it has the same weakness as the JagdTiger, which is that giant lower plate, which I don't have a whole lot of positioning I could do right now to cover that. I can kind of use the hills like I'm trying to basically right here. When I stop reversing in a second there, I'll move forward to reduce the angle on that. And then this dude, I don't know what he was doing aiming at my superstructure. That thing, front of that top piece there, the superstructure has 250 millimeters angled back slightly. It's pretty much irrelevant that it's angled because it'll get removed. But it's angled back about 8 or 10 degrees or so. So there's pretty much nothing in this match that can at least consistently get through that. And I ricocheted off his turret, I'm pretty sure. I was taking a quickie shot. Now you'll notice the Chefé damaged my track, and he knows he has basically nothing left to do in this match, so you can tell he's sitting there taking pot shots at me, because you can hear it ding off. So what he does, and this is actually a really good decision on his part, is he keeps me aimed in, and he starts taking pot shots at my track. You'll notice he damaged them earlier, but he also breaks them right there. And I figured that's not good, so I use a repair kit, spin around, because he can keep me tracked indefinitely if he can hit it. Which I think he can, because he's not that far away. There's another ding. There's literally not much I can do here, so I just kind of sit here, wait, see if they'll show up. Obviously, Chefé's still spotting me. He does a real good job. There he is right there, in fact. He does a really good job for what he's supposed to do, which is spot things. And he does it the entire match until I think he kind of gets bored or something here. He knows he can't do anything. He's he knows he can't really help his team, so he appears to look like he's trying to maneuver around us, but he kind of missed the rocks there a little bit. He went over the hill behind the rocks, which gave me and, I believe, the Pershing back there, and this is pretty much the only time I've seen him actually do anything useful, shot him as he went over that hill, which killed him, which removed the spotting. However, the problem becomes they still have a lot of tier 8s. We, however, do not have a lot of tier 8s. We have me, the T-34, who did really good. I'll give the T-34 that. The T-34 did really good in this match. He stuck with me, he tried to give me covering fire, he tried to help me. He tried to keep hull down as much as possible. Everything the T-34 pretty much should be doing right now. And he got missed by something. I think it's that dude. Notice, track shot. He's next to a rock. He's put his tracks next to me. I have an easy angle on a track shot. Now I know I'm dead because I just got shot in the side, and there's 2 heavy tanks next to me. So I just keep shooting at this dude until I die. And I actually get off a shot right as that T-34 hits me, and then he rams me. I'm not sure why he rammed me. He's still aiming at me, which is a bit curious. Maybe he hates me that much that he wants me to die a second time, but if I had just a little bit more time, another 3 or 4 seconds, I could have actually killed that Kerblurgiden, that dude over there. Because he only has, well, I might not have killed him. He only has 200-something hit points left, so it's possible I wouldn't kill him because the damage rolls on this thing are quite weird. Anywhere from like 180 to 250 or something like that, I'm not entirely sure. So this AT-8 is taking pot shots at a T-34's turret, by the way, he's hull down, and then he starts taking pot shots at a KV-4, neither of which he'll ever hurt from this angle. And then he decides, and this is a good decision, the VK is the only target he can kill, so he spins around, shoots it, repairs his tracks with a repair kit, and basically just tries his best to do things. But then he makes another bad decision and points at this Leopard. I don't know why. Actually points past the Leopard. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do there. Maybe turn around and point his rear at him, but I don't know. That was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I did darn good. So there you go. To defeat 109,000 credits, 913 experience. It damaged pretty much half of their team. Spotted some of them. There's the T-34. You can see my damage, 4,000 damage. That is the damage I caused, 4,000 in a tank with a gun that does about 220 per hit, I think is the average on this thing. Damage potential received is 5,000. That's just literally insane, the amount of damage that was thrown around on this, to this tank and from this tank. So that was a really fun match. I gotta give props to that Chaffee and the T-34, so good job to both of them, and I'll see you guys next time.